Stop trying to be who you were at 45. You're not meant to be faster now. You're meant to be wiser. Now, I mean, you say, why? Well, if you try to be 45 and you're not 45, you're going to hurt yourself. You know, you're 50 or 60 or older. You realize that most men spend the second half of their lives in kind of a state of panic. You know, you look in the mirror and you see what's missing. You know, that muscle mass, it's different, isn't it? The energy levels, boy, they've shifted. And the phone doesn't ring as often as it used to. In my job, it was 24/7, and all of a sudden the phone stopped ringing. And as a result, you feel invisible, don't you? But here's the hard truth. You feel invisible because you are standing in the wrong spotlight. You're trying to illuminate your life in the wrong way. You're trying to play a young man's game with an older man's body. And guess what? You're losing. We're going to talk about what I call radical sanity, or as I name it in my latest book, the second calling. And it's not just a spiritual calling, it's a life calling, your second calling. This isn't about giving up. No, it's about waking up. We're going to look at the spiritual and psychological shift you need to make right now to find your life purpose after 50. We're going to explore why your value today, it's not based on what you can build, but on what you can bless. Now stick with me on this. At the end of the video, I've got some important tips and some resources to share with you. If you're a man between 50 and 60, now this is the most important transition of your life. Let's walk through it, okay? Section 1, it's called The Great Stripping Away. For many of our 40 years, you built an identity on what you did. You were a producer, a warrior. You conquered markets. You fixed problems. You provided, you produced, you made things, you sold things. That was your job. I was a pastor for 45 years. And it was all about results. Sure, even in the church, results. Doing things, making things happen. But as you age, life becomes a process. I call it the great stripping away. You retire, or your career stalls, or the kids leave. The external props that held you up are taken away. This feels like a crisis. You know, society calls it a midlife crisis, but that's kind of a shallow term. It's usually an identity crisis. You ask, if I am not the provider or the CEO or the strong man or the boss, then who am I? Here's where the spiritual battle begins. If you try to be that, fill that void by doing more or what you did at 40, you know, like buying a car, purchasing a house, a broken relationship, a new relationship, you try to prove it that you have it, then you're going to suffer because you're fighting gravity. Psychologically, men who refuse to let go of the warrior archetype, guess what? They become bitter. They become like the old king who refused to stop doing. Yelling at the clouds, or like the story goes, chasing windmills. Radical family starts with the acceptance. It's not a punishment. It's a preparation for your life. You're being stripped of your roles so you can find your soul. You're being forced to stop doing so you can start being. And there's a difference there. Why is that so hard? Because being requires silence. And most men are terrified of silence. We try to fill it quiet with activity. Let's talk about biology and the shift from speed to clarity. Think of a visual of your brain. There's a left side and a right side, but the two halves, the left side is the fluid intelligence. It's energy, it's action. The left side of your brain, fluid. The right side of your brain is the crystallized intelligent, like the gems. This is the right side of your brain. Now let's look at science for a moment about the left and the right side. You need to understand that your biology is actually trying to help you, not hurt you as you age. In your 20s, 30s, and 40s, you had what psychologists call fluid intelligent, the left side of your brain. You were fast. You multitasked. You could burn the candle at both ends and still get by, right? That was your biological advantage. Fluid thinking. It just flowed, it perked, it sparked, it was alive. As a young pastor, living way up north in northern Wisconsin, I did just this. I did that left side stuff. Every Christmas Eve, I'd preach and lead worship, Christmas Eve service. Then my wife and I would hurry home, bundle up the kids, and we'd hop in the car and we'd drive 6 hours south to our hometown in Madison, Wisconsin. We'd arrive at the in-laws well after midnight, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning. Then, you guessed it, get up at 5 a.m. with the kids, open presents, have a breakfast. Then, late morning, we would pack up the car again and drive to the center of town to my parents' home. One more Christmas day with presents and a big meal and family time. No problem, really. We were young. And we were fluid thinkers. But by 50 and 60, that speed declines, doesn't it? Yeah, it just does. But it's replaced by crystallized intelligence. Remember the gems of wisdom. This is pattern recognition. This is the ability to walk into a room, to look at a complex problem, and to instinctively know the answer in minutes because you've seen it 1,000 times before. You've figured it out in the past years. You know the answer. Your wisdom, crystallized thinking kicks in. You know, near the end of my career in church, in my 60s, I could walk into a meeting and almost always in an instant understand what the problem was in the church, or the challenge, and how to fix it. The 20-year-olds were confused, but I saw it completely. The problem and the answer. That's my right brain. That's the crystal brain. It's fully charged as it could be. And that's your brain today in the 50s, 60s, and 70s and beyond. Your strength today is clarity, calm, wisdom. So lead from your strength. Lead from your elder wisdom. When you try to compete with a 40-year-old on speed, you'll lose. But when you compete on perspective and wisdom and intelligence from the right side of your brain, you win every time. This is the shift from the warrior to the sage. A warrior rushes into battle, sword drawn. A sage sits back, assesses the field, and makes one decision, and that wins the war. You know, you have to ask yourself, are you trying to be the warrior still now? Or are you trying to force doors open like you did before? The elder wisdom is inherent in men over 60, and it's a resource. And the world is crying for men with wisdom. And you can't access your wisdom if you're too busy trying to prove you're still young. You have to slow down. Slow down enough to be heard as a wise elder. Let's tap into a real challenge. It's the trap of relevance in our technological era. Picture a man, he's looking at his smartphone, and you may be scrolling at your smartphone, trying to catch up. One of the biggest traps for men our age is the possession with staying relevant. Don't worry about it. You see it all the time. Men are trying to keep up with the latest slang, the latest tech, the latest AI, the latest thing with friends. And that's quickly becoming obsolete. Case in point, when I started my YouTube channel, I thought I had to have all of these faceless videos with AI animation and an AI avatar and not the real me. Well, long story short, that didn't work. You, my audience, older men, want authenticity and realness. I was trying to be something I was not, and I was trying to be relevant in a way a 20-something youngster is relevant on YouTube. And you are supposed to be timeless and wise. That's the truth of our thinking today. Wisdom of the ages. Calm, clear, and wise. Now, we call it radical sanity, but I call it the second calling. It means stepping out of the stream of all of the temporary noise that surrounds us. It means you stop caring about who is trending, and you start caring about what is true and worthy. When a man over 60 speaks the truth without fear of consequences, that is real power. Young men can't do that. Why? Because they're too worried about their careers, about what the boss thinks, about a promotion. Well, when I turned 60, I approached ministry in the church with elder wisdom. I was calm. I was wise. I didn't jump in. You don't have a boss to impress anymore if you're retired. You have the freedom to be radically honest with yourself and with others. And that's your new role. To tell the truth, to see the rock in the river, to be that rock when everyone else is jumping around and trying to keep up with the economy and politics and artificial intelligence, and you're the one that stays calm. You provide stability. This is spiritual service to your family and your community and yourself. Let's talk about our final point, the important one. It's legacy. Legacy and the final purpose. There's a shift in what we think about legacy these days as elders, as people over 50 or 60 or 70. So what is your purpose now? If it's not to make the boss happy or build empires or change things or make more money, what is it? Your purpose is legacy. And I don't mean putting your name on a building, or something like that. I mean a spiritual legacy. The wise ones don't care anymore about their name in lights. Legacy is not that. It's what you leave in people, not what you leave for them. It's about what we call mentorship. It's about taking these harsh truths you've learned, then the failures, and the brokenness, and the divorces, and the heartbreaks, and the losses, and the grief, and distilling them into wisdom for the next generation. A lot of men, they panic and then they become grumpy old men. But you process pain, you integrate it. You become medicine for your soul and for others. And so your purpose after 50 is to become a blessing for all of the people around you. Think about it. In ancient cultures, the elders were the ones who blessed the tribe. They affirmed the identity. Look at Aristotle, Plato, Confucius, or Einstein. What do you see? Older men who were wise. So who are you blessing? Who are you encouraging in your life these days? If you are 70 years old and you are still only thinking about your own comfort and that's it, you have failed the test of age. You are meant to be a river flowing, not a reservoir getting stagnant. Now, don't get me wrong here. Comfort in retirement is a good thing, but it's not the only thing. Think about how you can become a blessing to the people around you. My YouTube channel, that's what I seek to create with it, the seasoned life, to be a blessing for those who watch. This is the only way to face mortality without terror. If you know that your wisdom lives on in others, death loses its sting. You have passed the torch on to others. So let's wrap up, if we may. So here's the bottom line. Stop trying to be 45. Embrace the slowness. Embrace the silence. Lean into your authority. You have survived 50, 60, 70 years or more. That counts for something. No, it counts for a lot of things. Your family doesn't need you to be cool or busy anymore. They need you to be solid. They need you to be sane in an insane world. Be the man who has made peace with himself. That is the greatest legacy that you can leave the world. The links to all of the resources are in the description below or on the pinned comment in the comments section. Click the video to my right. Remember, as I say on my channel, if you're still breathing, your soul is still growing. So go ahead, click the next video. You'll learn more and you'll see more details about the resources I created just for you to help you grow.